Welcome to DaAi Headline. I'm Dennis Wu. Thank you for joining us. In the United States, Tzu Chi volunteers from Dallas, Texas, went to the nearby Lancaster to distribute aid to 36 families devastated by tornadoes earlier in the month. Chinese television station KTSF in San Francisco helps promote vegetarianism in the Bay Area by inviting Tzu Chi volunteers to appear on its cookery program. And in Taiwan, inmates of Taichung prison are visited by Tzu Chi volunteers who show them love, respect, and ways to embrace a new life. On the 3rd of this month, Dallas, Texas of the United States was battered by a series of tornadoes. 3 days after the disaster, Tzu Chi volunteers mobilized to carry out a distribution in one of the worst hit areas, Lancaster, which lies south to the city. 112 people from 36 families received cash cards as well as environmental blankets. The caregivers also hope to survey other areas to provide necessary support.
A building without a roof, a house with only one wall, and a garage that has been torn apart. Fort Worth, Dallas was hard hit by 6 to 12 tornadoes on April 3rd. One of the worst hit areas was Lancaster. City volunteers immediately mobilized to survey the area 3 days after the disaster and also hold an aid distribution.
We have the distribution in the Lancaster High School.
Okay.
Yeah, we are kind of distributing emergency money.
Okay.
To people.
FEMA contacted us and we were still on the phone with them until 1 a.m. this morning. We wanted to mobilize our volunteers this morning. It's like what the Master says, wherever there is a disaster in this world, we will be there to comfort the disaster victims.
Originally a quiet town, the tornadoes left a trail of destruction in Lancaster. Thus, local government imposed a curfew for safety purpose that was only removed 3 days later on April 6th. Tzu Chi arrived soon after with cash cards and blankets for disaster victims.
We love Tzu Chi very much. Tzu Chi Foundation is a member of Dallas County VOAD, those hard hit by the tornadoes that happened this past week. And we deeply appreciate every one of y'all coming out here and spending your time volunteering to help and providing the relief assistance that you brought to us today. So we really appreciate it.
At Tzu Chi's first distribution, 112 people from 36 families received relief items and emergency funds. Volunteers in Dallas all hope to continue with the disaster survey work and hold further distributions whenever and wherever necessary.
Next to South America, Tzu Chi volunteers in Brazil held a necessary distribution in the Capão Redondo district of Sao Paulo, about 40 minutes drive from the liaison office, to hand out prescription eyeglasses to needy residents so they may see clearly again.
Glasses are like a second pair of eyes for many people, not cutting any corners. Tzu Chi volunteers in Brazil give the recipients of new eyeglasses a vision test to make sure they have the right prescription. They even bring some adult diapers for bedridden patient Antonio.
This is the first time I have ever come into contact with the Tzu Chi organization and the first time anyone has called on my home to check on my family's situation. You even brought adult diapers and a food hamper.
Capão Redondo is a suburb of Sao Paulo, around 40 minutes from the Brazilian chapter office. Volunteers came to the community through a partnership with a local organization.
Because this is the first distribution, I had to be here. Because we are one family, one small bird can do nothing, but if there is a flock of birds, the heavens will notice.
Less than 10 volunteers handed out 48 pairs of spectacles so that local residents could see clearly once more.
Back to Taiwan over the weekend, Tzu Chins from National Penghu University of Science and Technology visited a local retirement home. The youth volunteers massaged the seniors, chatted with them, and even sang karaoke together. From their visit, the Tzu Chins said they were taught a valuable lesson.
Today, Tzu Chins from National Penghu University of Science and Technology are visiting a local retirement home. The performance by the Ciqing certainly cheers up the seniors. One grandmother even decides to sing a duet with the Ciqing. The students help massage the seniors while chatting with them. At this moment, these seniors are just like their own grandparents.
现在我没有就是打工。
Right now I don't have a job, so I can't donate any money to them, but I can stay by their side and listen to their stories. I'm very happy to have this chance to spend time with them.
78-year-old senior Qiu Xue has been living in the retirement home for years and always hopes her family can visit. Today, with the Ciqing's visit, happiness is written all over her face.
我这玩意好高兴，好高兴，好舒服哦。啊，你若无来吼，阮就想你啦，就想大家啦。我哪来嘞？我哪来？啊，你若来，阮就真幸福快乐啦。
刚开始来其实有点。
When I first came here, I was a bit afraid because I didn't know how to take care of them. Afterwards, I realized they are just like children, really cute.
Every senior is like a history book. Through chatting with them, we can learn valuable knowledge. So I want to thank all the seniors, as they have taught me to cherish my time.
The Ciqing's visit to the retirement home has brought happiness to the seniors, while the students say the visit has taught them all a valuable lesson.
In hope of improving our environment, members of Tzu Chi in the Kaohsiung area of South Taiwan recently organized a tree planting activity at the Qishan Farmers Leisure Activity Center. As well as ordinary residents, some disadvantaged families were also encouraged to take part in the event. Thanks to everyone's hard work, a total of 800 trees were planted.
Tzu Chi's tree planting activity at the Qishan Farmers Leisure Activity Center in Kaohsiung, Taiwan, inspired an enthusiastic response from the public. The participants soon discovered that tree planting takes skill. Paying attention to the soil quality and the depth of each hole, the volunteers soon work up a sweat.
Planting trees helps the planet. I'm just doing my bit.
Planting trees is good for the planet, and it's great to see everyone doing something meaningful.
Young and old people and even some whole families have come to do their part for the environment.
By planting trees themselves and learning how to grow them, this is like a Tzu Chi seminar, and when they go home, they can practice this in their communities.
With tender, loving care, the volunteers hope that the newly planted saplings will grow into great trees for future generations to enjoy.
Children living in the cities rarely have the chance to get in touch with nature, let alone understand the hard work that goes on behind planting trees or vegetables. In Taizong's Tzu Chi Parent and Children class, students went on an outdoor excursion to get a first-hand experience of farming.
Despite the drizzling rain, students still show up for the excursion to learn more about farming and vegetables.
We want the children to know how the vegetables came about. Normally, when they eat from the table, they don't know the hard work of the farmers. This experience is great.
Children living in the cities really have the chance of getting in touch with nature. Thus, this is an experience for many.
I now recognize spinach and broccoli. Before today, my children would only eat cabbage and spinach. Now, when we go home, she might eat a little bit more.
Cherishing and not wasting any food is a precious lesson these students have learned.
There are many more ways to protect our planet besides planting trees and getting to know Mother Nature. Third-grade students from Tziji's elementary school in Tainan, Taiwan, went to an environmental station recently to get some hands-on experience of recycling. The children and their parents said the trip helped them see that they could do more to protect the planet.
Unless someone tells you what is classified as bottles and cans and what is plastic, then this basket of recyclables would be a mystery. At an environmental station in Tainan, students from the local Tzi school are kitted out in masks and gloves to learn how to sort recyclables.
By making sweaters, blankets and scarves, we can save the world.
In the future, I will take my toys apart first to make it easier for the volunteers.
The best way to teach children that recycling starts at home is to give them some hands-on experience. But what do their parents think about it all?
You really have to try it to learn how to do it. Although we recycle at home, after coming here to do it for real, I realized we don't do enough.
We don't have to go on a trip on the weekend. We can call up some families and come here for this meaningful activity.
By practicing at home, in school and with the community, these children are learning how to protect the planet at an early age.
Besides recycling, becoming a vegetarian, which helps reduce carbon emissions, can better our environment as well. In San Francisco, to encourage the Chinese community in the Bay Area to join the new trend, the local Chinese television station, KTSF, has launched a new program to introduce people to a healthy diet. Recently, Tzi volunteers were invited to appear on the show. At KTSF TV station in San Francisco, two Tzi sisters are getting ready to appear on a cookery program.
Hello everyone, the dish we will be learning today is called stir-fry mixed vegetables.
This dish, which incorporates the 5 elements, is delicious. Black benefits are kidneys, white are lungs, and red are heart.
The simple stir-fried meal is nutritious and very healthy.
Many of our colleagues are actually vegetarians, so for them, it would be more convenient if there were more vegetarian recipes and different ways to prepare vegetables. This will help give them ideas on how to prepare their meals.
Healthy cooking and living is now a trend in the Bay Area. This prompted the Chinese TV station to produce the cooking show and invite Tzi volunteers to showcase their vegetarian recipes.
Tzi has steadily been promoting vegetarianism for quite some time, and we hope that many people in the Bay Area will learn about this and hope that they will be willing to take part to become vegetarians. This is stir-fry mixed vegetables, as demonstrated by the Tzi sisters. The ingredients are simple, and not too many spices are used to preserve the natural flavor. Let's try it now. Oh, it's wonderful. Viewers feel free to try this at home.
Also promoting vegetarianism, in Malaysia's Kota Kinabalu, Tzi volunteers invited local community residents to enjoy various vegetarian delicacies. What makes the dishes special was that they were made by male volunteers. For many, it was their first cooking experience. However, through hard work and following the recipes to the letter, the meals were a success. In fact, the food was so good that some residents even vowed to take up a meatless diet.
Thanks to everyone's help, the table is filled with delicious foods.
These foods are really delicious. I haven't tasted any vegetarian delicacies that are this delicious in my life. I didn't know that vegetarian food could be this delicious.
The vegetarian food are really tasty, better than the ones in the restaurants. I feel great.
The chefs behind these delicacies are not professional chefs or housewives, but a group of male volunteers.
I actually don't know how to cook vegetarian food, but our group had the opportunity to promote vegetarianism, so I thought this could be my chance to learn something new.
In Kota Kinabalu city of Malaysia, Tzu Chi volunteers are promoting vegetarianism in their local community. The male volunteers take on the responsibility as chefs and contribute every step on the way, from sorting the recipes to cooking.
I believe everyone can be professional as long as you put your heart into it. Brother He Xing is really hardworking. He will ask me if he doesn't understand something, and he keeps a recipe book with him all the time.
The volunteers not only prepare delicious food, they also explain the benefits of each ingredient.
This is deep-fried taro. Taro helps clean our teeth.
Through a video, the residents vowed to cut down meat consumption and vowed to adopt a meatless diet.
I was overwhelmed by the video. I have watched this video before. What is shown is horrible, but I forgot about it. Today, after watching it again, I am determined to be a vegetarian.
I made a promise to myself to cut down on my meat consumption, so in a week I will be a vegetarian for at least 2 days.
To decrease the burden on our bodies and our Mother Earth, the Tzu Chi volunteers encourage local residents to adopt a meatless diet.
Staying in Kota Kinabalu, a village in the city was recently struck by a large fire, which left 30 households or 150 people homeless. The blaze, the second that the community has faced in the space of a year, was so strong that many had no time to gather their belongings before they had to flee. The day after the blaze, Tzu Chi volunteers arrived to carry out a disaster assessment and also hand out emergency cash, which was a godsend to the fire victims who were left with nothing.
The last fire we had time to gather our belongings, but this time we didn't have time to save anything. All we're left with now are the clothes on our backs.
Thinking of how his house was burned down twice, Abdul Rahman feels an intense sense of frustration and helplessness.
It was raining that day. Lightning hit us and our utility lines caught on fire. Soon the entire house was burning. I went in and gathered my family to flee. After they were safe, I wanted to come back and save some of our valuables, but fire had already consumed the entire house.
In addition to Abdul Rahman's house, the fire also struck 12 other houses in the area, all of which were burned down to the ground.
I didn't have a chance to get anything. This time the fire spread very quickly. Because of the wind, the fire soon became quite large and no one had time to save anything.
Yang dulu yang terbakar kan, kalau EPF yang pergi buat ini yang cantik-cantik lah.
Iya.
Jadi sekarang ini macam mana yang 13, 12 buah ini?
Kalau sudah habis EPF, orang bilang.
With residents devastated by the fire, Tzu Chi volunteers from Kota Kinabalu arrived the next day to offer support, as well as hold a disaster survey. After surveying the damage, that same afternoon, the volunteers handed out consolation cash to the 30 families that lost everything to the fire.
I'm so thankful for your help. If not for you, I don't know what I would do. My home and everything in it is gone. With this money, at least we can buy ourselves some daily essentials and clothing.
Among the victims is single mom Mariani, who just recently lost her husband. Now a fire took her home. Thankfully, Tzu Chi volunteers are by her side to give her the encouragement and resources to go on.
My husband only recently died. I never imagined that only 3 months later I would have to deal with a fire. I'm so sad. With this money, maybe I can buy some wood and make myself a temporary lodging. Thank you so much for your help.
Thanks to the help and concern of the volunteers, these fire victims have the resources and faith necessary to put this disaster behind them and look ahead to a brighter future. Tzu Chi Foundation's spokesperson, Mr. He Zhisen, recently gave a speech at the Buddhist NGO's liaison office in Shanghai, China. The event attracted an audience of nearly 200 people. He Zhisen shared his experiences of taking part in winter relief distributions in China and the recent performance of the Water Repentance Sutra in Hualien, Taiwan.
Sometimes laughing, sometimes nodding in agreement, a responsive audience in China's Shanghai listens to a speech by Tzu Chi spokesperson He Zhisen.
By personally giving, you will experience hardship. That hardship makes you appreciate how lucky you are. Life is so capricious, so transient. I have to cherish what I have now.
The inspirational speech helped some members of the audience see how they were troubled by unnecessary pressures from the material world.
I used to think I had to buy this and that product, which planted lots of worries. If I couldn't buy something, I would worry about it too. After joining Tzu Chi, I think I'm more fulfilled inside and feel more satisfied.
The 172 people who attended the speech at the Changfeng liaison office in Shanghai left the event with a deep sense of satisfaction.
Also inspiring positive changes with the Dharma inside the Buddhist scripture from the Tang Dynasty. In Taiwan, Tzu Chi volunteers visited the Haizhong prison to hold the blessing ceremony. The volunteers also performed segments of the Water Repentance Sutra musical, which inspired many inmates to make changes in their lives.
At Taidong Prison, a solemn water repentance musical is being performed for inmates by Tzu Chi volunteers. Many are brought to tears and start singing along. Repenting and cleansing their spirit, many also took to the stage to share their feelings.
To forever remember this epiphany, keep this moment in my heart, and give myself a chance to change.
When I go home, I want to open up a vegetarian restaurant where I will practice Tzu Chi's spirit of universal love and walk the bodhisattva path so that more people will become vegetarians too, for the sake of saving lives and amending my sins.
One of the inmates says the respectful manner of the Tzu Chi volunteers is something he never experienced.
In the past, I thought I could only gain respect by holding a gun in my hand. But now I know I was wrong. I now have a long road ahead of me, but I believe in myself and know I will make it through.
This is a blessing for our inmates to show them that people do still care about them. Coming in touch with this kind of organization motivates them to make changes in their lives.
Repenting and letting go of their past, these inmates learn to embrace a new beginning.
Tzu Chi Recycling Station in New Taipei City's Linkou District has found a new home. To celebrate, recycling volunteers, who were mostly seniors in their 70s and 80s, went to the recycling station on its grand opening day. We join them at the end of today's program. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.